I'm back in the forest. In fact, I'm standing on something which is called the Perlacher Muggle. And it's a hill pretty much in the middle of a middle bit of the forest. And underneath it is an old wartime bunker. And that bunker was so well built that they couldn't destroy it. So they took all of the rubble from the building works of the motorway, which you can hear over there. It's very loud today because of atmospheric things that come off of the Alps that you can see back there. They poured it on top of the bunker, and then they put a little hut on top, and this is the Muggle. I'm on the Muggle. Now my life is a bit weird because I live kind of in between two things. This side here, this is the art side. The art side of my life, the passion, the drive, the burning desire to make stuff that makes people think.
That every object has its passions.
And then there's the commercially side, the business side, the side where I spent quite a huge chunk of my life figuring about how to get people to like things or buy things.
Play it nice and cool, son. Nice and cool, you know what I mean?
There's never really been like an overlap. I've always been down here in the middle, like an annoying stone in a Wellington boot. So some of my things are about art, and some of my things are about business. Not sponsored. And today is about business.
Sell me this pen.
Today, I'd like to talk about sabotage.
Let's make some noise.
Intentions are like dreams. Visions of bright possible futures. They are fragile ideas that we need to protect. We need to protect them and be pig-headed and robust and powerful enough to push them through regardless of what the world might throw at them. Intentions are constantly challenged by random acts of sabotage.
And your planet is one of those scheduled for demolition.
Like not reading the memo, overseeing the memo, ignoring the memo, or not visiting your planning department at Alpha Centauri, life, like an alien race of Vogons, comes at you hard when you're sloppy. Negation, laziness, and miscommunication as random acts of tiny sabotage that lead to disastrous results.
Pathetic bloody planet.
The US Secret Service, the OSS, which was the forerunner to the CIA that we all know and love today,
Felix Leiter, Central Intelligence Agency,
sought to recruit citizen saboteurs and issued a book that they called the Simple Sabotage Field Manual.
It is I, Leclerc.
It's a 30-page guide to basically slowing everything down and being a general pain to the system. It's also a study in human behavior, behavioral science, and the black art of bad leadership.
Ooh, you're hard.
It's a brilliant thing. The handbook does cover the more destructive forms of sabotage that we've come to know from Hollywood films over the last 50, 60 years. But it's the tiny acts of simple sabotage that I find so interesting and so timely. With suggestions such as jam bits of paper or bits of wood or hairpins or nails or glass or anything into the locks of unguarded entrances to public buildings, or weeping uncontrollably when faced with the oppressor or their manager, the citizen saboteur sabotages with demotivation. The handbook was written in a time of war and only declassified in 2008, but reading it now, it feels like a thoroughly modern guide to corporate life. Here are just a few things that the OSS considered to be effective, simple sabotage. Insist on doing everything through channels. Never permit shortcuts to be taken in order to expedite decisions. Haggle over precise wordings of communications, minutes, and resolutions. In making work assignments, always sign out the unimportant jobs first. See that important jobs are assigned to inefficient workers. To lower morale, and with it production, be pleasant to inefficient workers. Give them undeserved promotions. Work slowly. Never pass on your skill and experience to a new or less skillful worker. Do your work poorly and blame it on bad tools, machinery, or equipment. Complain that these things are preventing you from doing your job correctly. Any of that sound familiar? The OSS handbook described the weapons of a citizen saboteur as salt, pebbles, nails, screws, candles, anything that would normally be considered part of their everyday life. Something that wouldn't cause suspicion, something that you would find in their home or in the place of work. The aim of the citizen saboteur was to slow everything down and to hinder action. Now, I'm sure you've recognized some of those things from that list, from past experiences, maybe a manager,
management skills, or
a colleague,
Leslie.
a process, a way of doing things. Hell, you may have even recognized yourself in that list. The tools of corporate sabotage are infinitely more complex than they were 70-odd years ago, because they are entwined into the very fabric of the way that we work, into the tools that we use, into the way that we work with other people, the processes that we have. Email instead of salt, presentations instead of candles, and proprietary procurement processes instead of nails. Corporate sabotage is a thing. It exists. It exists. It's never been easier or quicker to slow things down and to stop getting things done. Corporate sabotage is seamless, it's smooth, and it's democratic because anyone can do it. From CEOs to senior managers, junior managers, managers, freelancers, suppliers, vendors, anyone. That's why the OSS handbook was so successful. Anyone and everyone could have been a citizen saboteur because anyone and everyone can slow things down. How do we stop the corporate saboteur from slowing us down? We'll talk about that in the next video. A little clue, it's all to do with art.